Have you ever met someone who has read every self-help book, watched hundreds of motivational videos, saved thousands of posts about productivity, discipline, and success? They can quote philosophy. They can explain psychology. They know exactly what they need to do. But their life looks exactly the same as it did 3 years ago. And the strange part is, they're not stupid. They're not lazy in the traditional sense. They genuinely believe the next book, the next video, the next podcast will finally be the thing that changes everything. Psychology says this isn't a habit problem. It's something much deeper. There's actually a name for this pattern. Researchers call it passive mastery, the illusion of growth without the discomfort of change. And once you understand why it happens, you'll never look at advice the same way again. 1. They use learning as a hiding place. For many people, consuming advice feels productive. The brain doesn't distinguish between learning about change and actually changing. So every book finished, every video watched, gives a small neurological reward. A feeling that says, you're moving forward. But you're not moving. You're just feeling like you are. Collecting advice becomes a safe substitute for the terrifying act of actually doing something. 2. Knowledge becomes their identity. After years of consuming content, they start to see themselves as the person who knows things. They become the friend people come to for advice. The one who always has the right answer. The one who understands psychology, habits, and mindset. And here's the trap. If they actually change, they have to admit they weren't living any of it. Their knowledge is their identity, and protecting that identity feels more important than transforming it. 3. They're waiting for complete clarity. They tell themselves, I'll start when I fully understand the process. I'll act when I have a clear plan. I just need a little more information. But psychology shows that clarity doesn't come before action. It comes through action. Every new piece of advice feels like the missing puzzle piece, so they keep searching, and the puzzle never gets finished because they never stop adding new pieces. 4. Advice gives them hope. Without risk. Hope is a powerful drug. Every new book represents a version of themselves that could exist. Smarter, disciplined, successful. And that version feels real when they're reading. But actually attempting change means risking failure. It means finding out maybe they're not as capable as they hoped. So they stay in the reading phase because, as long as they haven't tried, the dream is still alive and perfect. Untested, unbroken. 5. They've developed an advice addiction. Dopamine isn't just triggered by achievement, it's triggered by the anticipation of achievement. Every new book title, every new framework, every new life-changing concept releases a small hit of excitement. This is why advice collectors are always searching for the next thing. Not because the last advice failed, but because the feeling of new information is genuinely addictive. Real change doesn't give you that hit. Real change is slow, uncomfortable, and deeply unglamorous. So the brain keeps choosing the hit. 6. Deep down, they don't believe they can change. This is the one nobody talks about. Underneath all the books and notes and saved posts is a quiet core belief. I know what to do. I just don't do it, which means something must be wrong with me. And if that belief is true, then no amount of advice will fix it. So they keep collecting, not to find the answer, but to avoid confirming their deepest fear, that they already have the answer, and they're still not doing it. More advice feels safer than that truth. Collecting advice isn't a knowledge problem. It's a protection strategy. It protects you from failure, from judgment, from having to face the gap between who you are and who you keep saying you'll become. The most dangerous library in the world isn't one with wrong information. It's one full of right information that never leaves the shelf. You don't need another book. You need one uncomfortable decision that your past self would have avoided. Because the person you want to become isn't waiting for more advice. They're waiting for you to stop reading about them and start being them.